So Xiaomi announced 4 new devices for their new Redmi Note 11 models, including these two budget-focused ones, the Redmi Note 11 and the Redmi Note 11S. Now, I've been using both of these for over a week, and in this video I'll share my experiences, including a head-to-head of the camera comparison later on. The design of the Note 11S is nice and refined. You've got this flatter feel throughout and the dual speakers. This version also sports the dual SIMs, and surprisingly in 2022, Xiaomi are also including this with the 3.5mm headphone jack. There's a convenient fingerprint scanner included in the power button. The back feels nice with this finishing that does attract lint. Thankfully, Xiaomi have included a simple plastic case in the box to help you keep it protected. So on the front is that display. It's an AMOLED display. It features a 6.43-inch FHD Plus with 90Hz refresh. It's a nice display, especially for media and day-to-day use. Though I would have liked to see a brighter screen, especially for us here in the Middle East. Performance-wise, it's been pretty decent on the 11S, and it's featuring the MediaTek Helio G96, which is paired with either a 6 or 8GB RAM configuration, and you've got MIUI 13, which is more about optimization and performance than any groundbreaking new features. There's also noticeably less bloatware this year, which is good to see. And all of that is on top of Android 11. Now, I'm picking points here now, but it would have been nice to see Android 12 on this device, but we'll have to wait for an update to come. So gaming felt smooth, but obviously limited graphics and frame rate with this 12nm chip. The phone battery does also drain a little faster with gaming, and the phone does get warmer too when you're playing for extended time, say anything more than about 20 minutes. There's nothing negative here, but it's noticeable. Okay, so at this point, you're probably considering the Redmi Note 11S, and then you wonder, shall I just save some money and go with the Redmi Note 11? Well, what are the differences between these two? Other than obviously these two devices, which have different colors, hardware perspective wise, they look and feel pretty much identical. There is a difference internally because they're using different chipsets, and then there's a difference, slight but noticeable difference between the different camera modules. Let me demonstrate. Now, it's barely noticeable, but the camera bump on the 11S is bigger than what you'll find with the 11. They have essentially the same cameras with the exception of the main, where the Redmi Note 11S has 108 megapixel, yes, in a mid-range smartphone, main camera, and the 11 has a 50 megapixel for the main. So the 11S does take the edge for photo quality, but really putting them side by side, you'll notice for photography, unless you're using it in the 108 megapixel mode entirely, there isn't a major difference, especially with photos. Now, where the difference is noticeable is in video. Check this out. Video on the Note 11S is much smoother, particularly when you're moving around with the phone in hand. Right guys, here's a quick side-by-side comparison of the video quality on both the 11S versus the 11. Now, this is testing out the rear cameras, and they will both record 1080 at 30 frames per second. But as I start moving around, you should be able to tell a noticeable difference where the 11S has better stabilization with video than the standard 11. Let me know if you can tell that in the comments down below. Low light is similar again for photos, but videos the 11S outperforms slightly with slightly better stabilization. Now, on the front facing selfie, there is a slight difference, with the 11 having a 13 megapixel f2.4 camera and the 11S taking the lead with a 16 megapixel f2.4. Here's a quick test of the front facing selfie camera. So on the 11S, you have the 16 megapixel, whereas on the 11 you have that 13 megapixel. Again, as I move around and start walking around, there should be a noticeable difference in terms of stabilization, with the 11S performing better. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Now, battery life on the 11S was decent, with the included 33 watt fast charger in the box. At this price point, it's hard to beat. I mean, I was getting about 3/4 of the day battery life while using the 11S, and I did find that the battery life on the 11 was lasting me a little longer, and that's possibly down to the fact that the chip in the 11 will have the Snapdragon 680, which is a 6nm chip that's a little better with battery performance. All in all, look, I found the Redmi Note 11 range it's a marginal upgrade from last year, but it continues to demonstrate just how well Xiaomi are able to cram in tech at such a competitive price point. The difference between the two the 11S and the 11 is around about 200 dirhams in this region. But I feel if you have the extra budget and the need for the camera, the video stability, like it matters to me, then the 11S does take the lead. If those things aren't necessarily important, then I think if you're due an upgrade or you want to get something in the mid-range section, then the Redmi Note 11 will be a good option to consider. But what are your thoughts? Comment below, and I'll see you in this video here next. I'm Kwan, over and out. Peace and blessings.